Okay, getting on to the last few math nodes here, a little bit more kind of varied, just random things that they do. This one is desaturation. So this is a desaturation node. It is a processor that just removes the color from a texture, but it doesn't do it sort of linearly. It doesn't affect every color equally. It uses these things here, luminance factors, and so these numbers here, this data is based on the human eye and sort of recorded values, and so our perception of color is different strengths for the different color receptors we have in our eye. So red, green and blue, we're very good at seeing greens, we're not very good at seeing blues, and so when we desaturate a color, we don't want to desaturate each color channel equally, and so we have these luminance factors, and we're just doing a saturation value here. Now this, in my opinion, is backwards. A desaturation value of 1, so in this case this should be called desaturation, will give us no color, which does make sense as long as we're using this as labeled desaturation, but it doesn't make sense to then oversaturate things. So you can use the desaturate node to increase saturation, let's say by putting a negative number in, and we now have oversaturated this. You can see that over here quite clearly. If I go crazy, it's going to go really crazy, but there we are. But in my mind, that's the wrong way around. I don't want a desaturation value where I have to use negative numbers to oversaturate something. I just want a parameter called saturation, and all I'm going to do is invert it before I use my desaturate node, and that way now a saturation of 0 is black and white, a saturation of 1 is doing nothing, and a saturation of 2 is oversaturating things. So just keep in mind when you're making your materials what your parameter names are and what they mean. It's always nice when things go from 0 being not an effect to 1 being the effect to 2 being twice the effect. It makes sense sort of logically and mathematically, but sometimes requires a little bit of tweaking in the setup to make that work. Okay.